I have a new mic, which is this DJI 3 mic. Bought this. I might just need to get an actual mic. Just thought eventually we need better quality, starting with the audio, and then eventually the sound, etc. Same as yesterday. Honestly, I haven't really slept so much. Someone pinged me yesterday. It was like, you realize some of the stuff you say makes no sense. I do when I'm slightly tired. We'll look at what I do is really, I'm trying to post as much as I can on the Build in Public channel on Propr. So every time, and I forget a lot of things, but well, I only post things that are relevant to you. Most of the work that we do at the moment is not really, let's say you related. It's admin related. The big milestone we have at the moment is going live with funded accounts. Sure, we have the free trials, but reality is it's just, a way for us to stress test the platform, making sure we've got no bugs. For example, tonight, the prod environment went down for, well, twice. I think one at, not sure, one and then the other at like 3, 4. Was actually a pain to debug this. I actually put like an alarm clock at every hour tonight, just to make sure we don't, well, if the infra is down, I'm there and can do the needful. Anyway, we'll stop mentioning this. We went live with the referral system in production. Today you can go to your settings, referral, and generate one of your ref codes. I've shared the transparency board after. We've added word binding. I believe it's in production. We've added, now let me actually share with you the app. It's going to be better. Just give me a minute. Okay. So this is the beta environment. What you see here is not necessarily in production. Most of the things aren't in production, actually. We've added something that someone mentioned, which I thought was pretty cool, is the ability to, if I'm on market and I'm on the chart here, I can post a limit short order. I'll post a limit long order if I'm below the price, which I think is pretty cool. We've also added the slippage edits. So if you make, if you set the slippage, well, your max slippage super low, like 0.001, you'll not be able to place orders if that hits. Well, on BTC, it's not enough. Wait, that's also not enough on ETH? It's crazy. On silver, it's definitely going to be enough. Yeah, there we go. So on silver, you see this warning, and then you can't place an order. We've added this, which is cool. We still have some issues, like here, for example, beta went. I think beta just went down. I'm not sure. I think we're doing like there is something running in the pipe. Let me see. Otherwise, we'll discuss about the transparency dashboard as we resolve this quickly. I'm not sure. Let me check actually if we have anything in the pipe. Okay, yeah, there's something that's being pushed to beta now. Sorry for this. I'm gonna come back to it in like 15 minutes. We've pushed a big thing. Well, technically it's a small thing, but what that means for the project is quite big. It's this transparency board. And what this does, it's basically we show all of the stats that we have. So traders over time, number of active vs total. So on the platform we have, I think, 4,000 users, but we only have 760 that started the free trial. So we will only count those 7 as active traders. And the difference between an active trader is one that's purchased or traded in the last 30 days. So for example, all the stats will be the same 30-day rolling, but as soon as we are more than 30 days, you'll have active traders be below the total traders, because there will be traders that enrolled on a free trial but haven't used the app in in some time, or just blew up the account. So today we've got 760 unique traders. We've enabled the ability to have 3 free trials. 3 free trials in production. You can see the pass rate. The pass rate is super low. I think reason for this is mainly people don't take it seriously. Revenues are going to be shown as early as next week. We are, as I said, it's a big focus of ours to enable funded traders. It's when the real thing starts, really. It's gonna be next week, more towards end of next week, I think, because we still have to do some. It's mainly work that you don't see, which is about our anti-farming algorithm and detection of any cheats or any misbehavior. So the way we're going to go initially is with only aligning 1 account per user and then scaling this. That's going to limit cross-hedging for a moment, but obviously cross-hedging goes way beyond this, and cross-hedging is a fact that someone can purchase 2 accounts, well, 1 account on 2 specific emails, and then go long and short on the highest leverage, and then pass an account for sure. So we want to make sure we detect that, and we just ban people that do this. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I think our stack is actually a lot more advanced than anything you see on the market. I don't want this to impact the payouts, like the speed at which we do the payouts, but that really we'll be super strict on this, and we will in fact show if we were to, because that's for sure going to happen. If we were to do this, we would publish an actual report about who did what and why we took that decision and the data we have access to. Anyway, pass rate, paper trading net positioning. We will add, obviously now we only have free trial, but as we add more challenge types, you'll see more. We show the aggregated paper trading P&L. We show the most traded instruments. It's by far BTC. I do suspect we still have quite some farmers on the free trial, which makes sense, right? It's free. We will add measures to try and counter this. I think you'll be surprised at like if you see us ship stuff for the clients, like the admin is pretty good. Like on lifespan, we see a lot of people just not do risk management at all. Community growth, payouts obviously not there because we're still in free trial. And then one thing I was working on this morning was this global user distribution. It's going to be added today, fetching the production data. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. And yeah, I'm excited for us going live next week. I think it's definitely going to be rock and roll, but I think that downtime we had tonight or last night did not make me more confident, I'd say. But I think it's gonna be okay. We'll manage. A couple of other things. Let me try and see if the beta environment is stable now. Okay, beta is back. Yeah, for the affiliate program, we'll check this. We'll check this. We've some other things that we've added. Some more quality of life improvements. Things like the max drawdown today is shown on the. For example, if I just place a position, wait, why is this not working? Okay, so it looks like beta is still down. Let me check. All right, so our pipeline is still running, so that's going to be annoying. All right, so my procs, no, I think there's no, the requirements that we have for the funding affiliates is a decent reach. So we have, like, our backend system prioritizes the people that have a good reach, as in 20, I think it's over 20K. Just a couple of things I'm gonna say here, and that's gonna be the last on the products. As we've changed a but API doc, I think we will add on the proper landing page a section about AI agents and how you can go about this. we've added Discord binding to the app, and very small thing, but not every challenge is tied to its market. That's also because we're making quite some progress on the Solana market integration, which I want to say is not a priority. We still got a lot to do on Hyperliquid, but we obviously have to be many steps ahead. And if I think that integration should probably be live. Obviously, we have to. Software development is like, you'll never be content or satisfied with an implementation. So it's about saying, okay, I'm fine with the current one, and then I'm happy to move on to something that's a bit more like it's about trade-offs. Granted that you have fixed capacity. So I can share a few screens here. For those that are not aware, what we do at Proper is we're building. We want to found skilled traders, or we want to found edge on the market. And whether that's through perps, prediction markets, or in fact any market, we want to be able to say, we'll be able to fund you if you have an edge. So Solana meme coin is an interesting thing. We've discussed about Solana funded. I think what sets us apart will be transparency and the tech. I think they're very good at growth. We'll discuss about growth just after this. But this is how the UI would look like, which is very similar, and that's, well, for a reason, but it is very similar to the UI of the current interface, except that you have your screener here. I want to say that we won't list all assets. We will have a gating mechanism. So what you see here as the market cap and volume is definitely not correct, as we will have much stronger gating mechanisms. As we progress, I'm going to write some articles on the approach to this new market. I think it has to be very special, because you have too many reasons to be, or too many flows and too many ways in which you can get exploited. And so you'll have very strong gating mechanisms at the start. Well, very strong things like the market cap, liquidity, check for any bundles, things of the sort. So it's going to be, if someone is looking to get the exact pump fund experience, it's not going to be that. We'll probably have much less tokens, and we're fine with it. I'm convinced that anyone that does not do this will fail. It's just not sustainable. But if you want to help us, help us build, or like co-build this, there is this channel on Discord. You can go check it out. I'm sharing a bit more progress, and I think I've shared the whitelist mechanisms for the assets. And yeah, that's basically how it looks. And we first want to get the good batch of funded traders, make sure this is going well, and then start on that integration. So if funded traders go live next week, probably need at least a good week of buffer to then start this integration. This integration would take us 2 weeks to build, and then we would go live. Now I'm going to talk about, wait. All right. So I think I lost connection for a moment. Now we'll talk about growth. We will have an incentive program to reward the economic activity of the platform, which concretely means that early users that are generating revenue for us, whether that's through referrals or through paying for a challenge or through generating profit, will get rewarded in something that's very similar to 𝘖𝘢𝘆𝘽. We will share how the points are generated, and there will be a big chunk of the supply that's going to be allocated to this. But today it's going to be really rewarding economic activity of the platform. That's at the core of why we're building this token. Is we believe that for us to become a superior platform, we need to have superiority on the tech side, on the transparency side, which we're getting there. Transparency, we're definitely out there. I don't think a lot of firms are showing what we show. The tech, everyone's improving, but I'm confident we'll get there. Like the asset universe is pretty cool that we have on 𝘖𝘢𝘆𝘽. And then user alignment is where it's going to be hard to beat us, because we'll have the best alignment to the users, because our token is basically getting fueled with all the revenues. Well, 40% of revenues, and then that's going to change over time based on the economics of the firm. So that is going to drive a bit of growth. It all comes down to distribution, but we'll have the right distribution networks to have this make some noise. So that's basically your point program, but I want to make clear that people that do not bring us, do not contribute to the economic activity are probably not going to be incentivized beyond the people that add value on the product side. So like giving feedback, feature requests. We understand a lot of people don't have the means to participate in the economic activity, and it's just going to be them. For example, on the free, one of the reasons why we have a free trial is that anyone can try the app. You don't have to be to have a certain wage. You can just give it a try and then give your feedback, and then we would value this. What's going to be on the apps probably maybe today is the ability to do a feature request or bug request directly from the app. Today we have this on the main website, but I think I want to embed this on the main app. We mainly have 3 growth levers at the moment. One is the affiliates. Affiliates is the #1 driver by far. But then we also have this program, so rewarding people early on and obviously the earlier you are, the more it means to the ecosystem, because we're just getting started. On the exact specs of this program, obviously we have to launch this program once we are able to welcome everyone on the platform, and that is the big thing. Is when are we doing this? I think next Wednesday, next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll add friends to the platform. But when do we effectively go live? We've put the 7th of April, where everyone can use the app. That's the tentative date that we have. And then this is effectively where the incentive program would also start. Where we reward you for economic activity, and I'm working on this at the moment. Like how are we, tech-wise, how are we gonna do it? But also, it's an important step because it's gonna be a lot of the supply of the token. You want to make sure this is done right, and beyond this, it's also the distribution. Because if you have a point program but little routes to distribute this, it's not really cool. And then the third step to our growth is the meme coin market is a pretty big market, and one where I'm confident we can get a big edge and show that transparency is something that lacks truly to the meme coin space. I think we can add value there, but realistically, it's not like it's going to take some time before we get there. All right, now let's talk about markets. Let's talk about two markets. We're pretty much at all-time high. Well, we are at all-time high on the challenge, which always feels good. We are at all-time high, and our positioning is only a hype short that's less than the notional. So today the challenge is at 191, and we have a notional of 150, well actually less, 143 on the hype short. And the view I have, and this is the most boring range ever, but it's going to be the same as flip above 72 and I'm bullish, or else go lower and I'm bullish. I want to say, yesterday we did say there was a good short. Like well, I did not, I'm not going to say I've said this. If you look back at the stream, I'm not even sure what I've said. What I did say is probability of being right short side is much higher than being right long side here, mostly because you're in a bear market at the top of a range. So it makes sense to just be short. Did they take the short? No, I think, no. I'll advertise take a short if we were to, well, entertain, sorry. If we were to go in this area, because then that means I have a better invalidation. You can always take your short here. I just think that I don't want to force a trade here. I don't feel like I have to. And hype is to me the better short. If we were to do a leg lower, sure, like high has been very strong. I just don't think. The issue I have with hype at the moment, and obviously I'm very bullish on the ecosystem, but the issue I have with hype is that for the first time the revenues are very decorrelated with the price. The revenues are not scaling a lot, like the open interest and revenues of Hyperliquid are down, but the token price is up, and historically it always moved in the same direction. And I think I'll be leaning towards this being a very wrong thesis if that does not converge in the next few weeks. But I'm still confident that we can hold this hype short for a few weeks. That to me is okay. I really don't see a world where hype goes to like 60, 50, and then this being a bear market would feel very weird. So the only position I'd be entertaining is this hype short. The rest of the market is, if I look at 𝑴𝑣𝑎𝑦, if I look at the rest, you're really asking for big liquidation, which, mind you, can happen. But it's also, you have to understand you're at the bottom of the range. Well, if you're saying that 𝑴𝑣𝑎𝑦 here is at a range, you're at the very bottom of it. 𝗙𝗢𝗠𝗠𝗘𝗡 is probably the same thing. Pump is probably the same thing. So do I want to really short range lows? Not really. I think the only position I would, if I had to take an opportunity here, I would take a short on tau and take a short on hype. But I think even that's a bit too risky. I think the only opportunity I would entertain at the moment is this, like this trade essentially. That's the only trade I see that one can take. And I want to be clear that my positioning is not going to change until we are down there. In that area, or we are up there. So it's probably going to be a very boring few days, or even weeks. It's just very hard to find any sort of hedge. It's a bit too headline driven. We did do quite well. I mean, we started the challenge. When did we start the challenge? On the 21st. So that's here. And 𝗏𝐵𝑡𝐶 hasn't moved since then, but we are almost at 2x on the challenge. And I don't feel like I'm gonna get any sort of edge. Sometimes it's just best to have liquidity on the side and being able to buy the dip aggressively if given. We're still in a context where I'm gonna share some TradFi charts now. We're still in a context where things aren't looking, by every metric in TradFi, things aren't looking good. Things aren't looking too good. Tesla is down. Like, things don't look very good. NVIDIA is breaking out of this initial range. Oil is still pretty high. VIX is at 27. And you know the drill, like I'm never gonna take, especially in this market, it's never gonna take be on the long side. I feel like I don't want to catch every move. I also haven't slept so much. I don't want to be looking at markets too much. I think if I can get a lot of work done this weekend and then less watching markets, because since the challenge started, I'm looking at the markets probably for, I'd say, at least, well, beyond the streams, I would say half an hour a day, which is a lot. I don't think this is too productive for my time to look at markets so much, especially in this market that's so bad, just so range bound. So yeah, TradFi doesn't look good. VIX is high. The diminished returns of tacos are increasingly there. So basically nothing. We're running this hype short and not going to do anything else. Probably going to. But I'm I'm interested to buy the dip. I would say you should not buy the dip too early, especially if you have a setup. I would probably see. No, we saw what you saw what we drew. Haven't changed that since, but that is something that can quickly happen. Is you would notice everyone's bullish on crypto because of relative strength. But the issue is once that this is fading, things can escalate really, really quickly to the downside, and you can get caught really quickly. So next Monday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I wouldn't struggle to see BTC down there. Like 60 is a very important level, 58. A lot of people are, have their stops there, and I think I want to be long STRC flows, and if you give me a dip, I'm going to step in big time. I think we'll take quite some risks on the challenge, and step in with potentially 3x delta on the challenge if we're given this opportunity. But you want to see some big wipeout in open interest. For me, I wouldn't, the way I know how can I catch the dip is if you have a big dip would mean you have crazy volume, a big liquidation wipeout, and then I'd be able to step in. Anyway, I think that's going to be all for today. I have to get to work now, and thanks a lot for tuning in, and I see you guys tomorrow.